Hey everyone, welcome to the College Lead YouTube channel. My name is Kristen and I'm here to help you perfect your college application process. I cover everything on this channel from planning your extracurriculars to studying for standardized tests and then figuring out what to write in your personal statements to college apps. Today I'll be talking about how to ace your AP essays with just 15 minutes per day. So if you are taking AP classes this year or even next year, be sure to watch this video from the very beginning through the end because I'll be sharing a lot of very helpful tips to help you be as productive as possible with your time while maximizing your chances of getting that perfect score on these exams. So something quickly I just want to mention. So please forgive me. Maybe we will have a little bit more than 15 minutes, but don't worry, this video is not clickbait. I genuinely mean 15 minutes. One day will be an hour, just one day. So let me explain. I have taken the time to put together a schedule and it looks like this. Here is an overview of the plan that I put together for you. And I will walk you through those strategies that I use to get the most out of each of those 15 minutes. Keep in mind that these times allotted to study are all without distractions. So no listening to music, no electronics, or if you're using your computer, have a distraction blocker on to prevent you from opening sites like Facebook, Reddit, and Discord. And also, no phones. Put them in a separate room and make sure all your devices are on Do Not Disturb. This will help you to get the most out of your time. Now, it's important to keep in mind that everyone has a different learning style, so take my advice in this video as a starting point. Try out some of the strategies that I suggest and change and adjust to whatever you find to be the most effective for your own learning. My goal in this video is to give you a solid starting point and also useful strategies. So with that, let's get started. As you can see in this schedule here, I recommend an hour of study on Sunday, and I'll talk through exactly what you can do in that hour, and then 15 minutes throughout the weekdays. Saturday is sort of a free-flowing day depending on your schedule because I know a lot of people out there might have some activities or not, so there is flexibility here. If you really do want to maximize your chances of getting a perfect score, I would recommend an hour of prep time or an hour of study, or just continue regularly with the 15 minutes. But notice one thing here in this whole plan. There's something that I'm trying to emphasize, and I'll show you exactly what that is. It is that consistency is key. The key point of this plan of at least 15 minutes per day is to keep your studying consistent. If you walk away just learning one thing from this video, I want you to remember that whatever study routine you establish, it is absolutely essential to be consistent. And as you will see, 15 minutes a day is more effective than 3 hours of study crammed into just one day once a week. So you can think of the idea of consistency similar to when you're trying to get fit. If you want to gain more muscle mass, the best way to do so is to do strength exercises regularly every day, working a muscle every time. That is much more effective and also sustainable than doing a 12-hour intensive all-inclusive day of training, and you will probably not be able to move after a day of that. So similarly, studying is kind of like working out that muscle. You want to keep things consistent. It's better to do 15 minutes during the weekday when you have school and exams and everything else going on, and then focus the bulk of your study on the weekend, as opposed to cramming everything in on the weekend. You want to make sure to be consistent. So here is an overview of the plan again. Remember that this video is just about preparing for the essay section of an AP exam. Multiple choice questions are excluded, but if that's something that you would like me to help you develop a if that is something that you would like me to help you develop a study strategy for, then let me know in the comments and I'd be happy to put a video together. Also, be sure to subscribe if you find this information helpful and want to learn more about how to best prepare yourself for college. Okay, so let's start with Sunday. This is the day where you will spend the longest time, and it is where you will do the prep work so that you will only have to spend 15 minutes a day, Monday through Friday or Saturday. There is just one thing I want to quickly establish in terms of what the expectations are of an essay on an AP exam. So let me start with explaining what it looks like or what makes a good essay in a normal English paper that might be assigned to you from a regular class in school. So I like to think of a great essay having two main components. One is really good content. Let's say if you're writing a persuasive essay, it would be those points that you make. And then the presentation can be how you write the introduction and how you go about arguing your points, making sure you have variation in your sentences, using advanced vocabulary, not repeating or reusing a keyword too many times, and things like that that are related to a writing style. What I do want to highlight though is that this system is a little different when we think about AP essays. So for an AP exam, you will be graded more so on the content than on the writing style. Now, that's not to say that the presentation, like your writing style, is not important, but if you had to pick just one of these, then you would rather know the content than write sentences about nothing. Let me say that really clearly. So you would rather know what content to write about than to write sentences that don't really convey anything. Because if you take a look at the grading rubrics and scoring rubrics for the APA essays, a lot of them are centered around what are your arguments and what are the points that you bring up, rather than did you write the sentence in a really beautiful way? Does it have a beautiful analogy in the introduction? They more so just want to know, are you able to answer the prompt directly? AP exam readers or scorers will care that you know about the historical facts if you're preparing for something like AP US history. And they will care less about the fact that you might use the word United States in every single sentence. So with that, our study strategy will be very focused on getting the content right and making sure that you do not draw a blank when you read an AP exam essay prompt. So for Sunday, this is your goal, to get through as many prompts as possible. And I know that on the exam, you're expected to spend maybe 30 minutes to an hour on working on a particular essay. So how will we be able to get through as many prompts as possible in just that 1 hour that we've allotted for our Sunday study? We will do something like this. It's what I like to call the outline strategy. So there are a couple of steps involved. First, obviously, read the prompt. Next, outline as many answers as you can think of. And note that I said outline and not write an essay. You will not be writing a full essay, just outlining the points. Again, we want to focus on content and not necessarily on the presentation or writing style of the content. Next, check your answers against the answer key and scoring rubric. And then you can turn the prompt and answers into flashcards on any points that you might not have remembered. And I'll show you exactly what I mean with an example here. But before I do that, a quick note, until you get closer to the AP exam test date, let's say maybe around the beginning of April, you will want to make sure that you absorb the content of the material. Writing should be pretty straightforward if you know what to actually write about. So usually, at least in my own experience, if I gave myself about a month to start practicing actually writing an essay in such a short time, I was a lot faster because I had spent the previous months making sure that I knew what to write about. So anytime I got a prompt when I was in an AP exam session, I would read through the prompt, write the outline, and then I would just quickly write down the facts and just do like a memory recall. I didn't really focus as much on, is my writing style okay? A lot of my sentences were simple sentences, starting with the or the subject and ending with a simple period. So again, focus more so on the content. Okay, let's go through that example of what I mean when I say you can turn a prompt and the answers into flashcards. So this is an example prompt that I pulled from the AP United States History 2019 practice test, and I will leave the link to where I found this below in the description. The College Board provides a lot of free practice tests, so I recommend going through that if you are looking for prompts to review. So here's the prompt. Evaluate the extent to which ideas of self-government influenced American colonial reaction to British imperial authority in the period from 1754 to 1776. And remember our next step back here. Now we've read the prompt, our next step is to outline as many answers as you can think of. And if I'm hypothetically a student in high school still, then I might do something like this. I'll start off with writing out the thesis. What it might look like. American reaction stemmed from desire for self-government and republicanism. Again, it's not a full sentence. It can be, and it's not like a perfect sentence, but the thought and the content is there. And remember, we're just outlining. We're not worrying about, are we writing a complete sentence? Does the sentence look nice? We're just making sure, do I know the facts and do I know what I would want to say when I answer this prompt? Now, main points that I can think of to support this, and again, I have not taken AP US history in like 7 or 8 years, So these are a few examples that I pulled from the scoring sheet, but again, this is just illustrative examples. You will want to do this closed book from memory and just think of as many as you can. First example, Mayflower Compact. Second, Boston Tea Party. Third, the idea of no taxation without representation. And fourth, the Declaration of Independence. And if you would like, you can go into more detail as well. And this would be excellent as you continue to go through each prompt and make sure you understand each point fully beyond what the name is. So let's take Boston Tea Party as an example. You can bullet point out what you know about that and what details you can include to support, to write in your supporting paragraph for this essay. So here, Boston Tea Party. It's when colonists dumped British tea into the harbor to protest tea tax. Then Britain responded with seizing the port, shutting down Massachusetts legislature, and replacing locally elected officials with unelected English bureaucrats. And you can do the same with what I did with Boston Tea Party with these other points here. And these are all things that you want to recall from memory. And if you happen not to know them, then you fill in the blanks with the scoring guidelines and the answer key when you are reviewing your answers. Now, how do we turn them into flashcards? Two ways. The first, turn different concepts that you might not be familiar with into flashcards. And this is something that I did in Quizlet. If you want, you can handwrite these as well. Figure out what system or solution works the best for you. I really like some of the games that you have on Quizlet where you can test yourself by the term and you can do the cards backwards or forwards. They have fun games where you can match them or type them in. So those variations are great, but I've also found paper ones to be helpful too. It does take some time to handwrite it out though. But here's an example of how you can turn an event that you might not be familiar with into a flashcard to be sure to absorb this to memory later. So the front of the flashcard, the Boston Tea Party, the back of it, that text that, those notes that I shared earlier, colonists dumped British tea into the harbor to protest tea tax, blah, blah, blah. Another option, if let's say you come across a prompt where during the practice, you had no idea what to write about, or you were only able to come up with 1 or 2 points and not enough, you can turn that whole prompt into a flashcard. So here, the prompt can be the term, and then the definition can be a few points that fall under that term. And in this way, the next time you see a prompt that asks about British imperial authority from 1754 to 1776 and the American reaction, then you know exactly what points to pull out. And this is how you can really maximize your time and coming up to think about what do you want to write about in these essays. So this was just one prompt. And what I want you to do on Sunday is to repeat that as many times as possible. Now these are for LEQs. Now for some of the essays that you have to write for like history AP exams, sometimes they will have an essay called DBQ where they will give you maybe 10 or 12 documents to then write an essay around. I would recommend using this method to study them on Sundays. Read through the prompt, read each of the examples and write down 3 keywords for each source. So if one makes you think of American colonialism or the reaction of American colonialism, that could be a key phrase. And then you want to group the documents by the keywords and then turn that into an outline, kind of similar to the LEQ strategy we mentioned earlier. And then turn any events you don't know into flashcards. So with these 2 ways of how to study, this is a suggested amount of time you can spend on each essay on Sunday. Remember, it's a full hour, but this will be dedicated time. No electronics except keying something into Quizlet when you are turning those phrases or prompts into flashcards. And even if you are on your laptop, make sure to have some sort of distraction blocker and also the do not disturb setting on. This will allow you to have an intense study session to make the most out of that 1 hour that you have. I would recommend maybe about 20 minutes on the DBQ and then 40 minutes on the LEQ. And remember, the goal here is to A, go through as many prompts as possible. It's totally fine if you do not know the answer to a prompt. That's what the flashcards are for. And then second, to come out with a bunch of flashcards on terms and events and prompts that you were less comfortable or familiar with. Now, what we will do with those prompts comes next. In our plan for Monday through Friday, these are our study days. I recommend spending 15 minutes every single day to study these flashcards. And your goal is to memorize all these terms and flashcards by the end of the week. Now, I feel like this video is already getting quite long, so I won't go through all the different strategies you can use for memorization. Instead, I recommend checking out, let me move myself. Instead, I recommend checking out my Instagram account, actually, because I recently posted about a few strategies for effective memorization. And I'll also link a few other videos where I talk about study strategies up here in the corner or in the description below. So be sure to check those out. Okay, so the last day, and I will move myself back up to this corner. So the last day, Saturday, it's 15 minutes or an hour. Saturday will be the same as a weekday or Sunday. It depends really on your schedule, but if you do want to get more practice and maximize your chances of getting a perfect score, then I recommend the full hour and apply something as similar to what you had on Sunday. One option is to actually go through those same prompts you did on Sunday the week before and see if now you are able to answer those prompts with what you've studied from your flashcards. Or you can start a new series of prompts and prepare more flashcards to review throughout the week. Again, full hour or 15 minutes of study, no distractions. Again, consistency is key. You want to do that consistent 15 minutes a day. If you need a little bit more than that, great. If you can only do 5 minutes a day, that is so much better than nothing and will really help to just sort of get that extra layer of iteration across, so then you will remember it the next day and retain that memory and not lose it. So that concludes this video. If you have found this study strategy helpful, be sure to check out my website at mycollegelead.com. Join my Slack channel where myself and also other students will share a bunch of different resources on how to study, different internship opportunities, and I have also, if you check the download section of my website, made a few documents available, for instance, college list planners or how to rate your extracurriculars, resume templates, and more. I also do offer one-on-one help, so you can check that out as well if you'd like to meet with me. And yes, thank you so much for watching this video and spending some time with me. I hope this was helpful, and if it was, please give this video a thumbs up and also subscribe to the College Lead YouTube channel for more information like this. Let me know if you have any questions, suggestions, praise, or other thoughts in the comments below, and I'll be sure to get back to you as soon as I can. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.